Good morning, everybody. Lee Brower here, and welcome to this week's edition of Meaningful Monday. I am grateful to be here. I am glad to be here. We are a product of the lives that have touched ours. A week ago Saturday, a life touched ours and will never be the same. I shared it with you last week in our Meaningful Monday, and I recommend that you go back and watch that if you haven't seen it. Rick is his name. Rick left Dallas last February. He was on a bike ride and just kept riding and never went home. Behind him he pulls a trailer, a makeshift trailer that he put together, and inside of it he carries his life possessions. He spends most of his time when he's eating, gets his energy from oatmeal and powdered milk, and then whatever he can eat along the way. He has a little bit of money that he's got from working, and he carries his life possessions, and he's written over 1,000 pages of his thoughts so far. Now understand, this is a man that is well educated, a petroleum scientist, a petroleum engineer, worked for luminaries, let's call it, in the business world. He's actually had headphones on, and he was listening to a Harvard course, actually taking a Harvard study course as he's crossing these mountains. Now I saw him pulling 100 pounds up this steepest of hills, and I stopped in a rest area and talked to him for a while and invited him to join us, and then he joined us. And in those 3 hours, what I learned from him was touching. Let me tell you what I learned. For the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, we've been talking about the empowering question. We've been talking about the question that we've been focused on is, can I be the answer to somebody's prayer today? Now, we've gone that 21 days now. Should be a habit if you've been following that. If not, I encourage you to jump on the bandwagon. Every morning, can I be the answer to somebody's prayer today? Ask yourself. If you do it long enough, it'll turn into a habit. A habit protected long enough turns into a trait. If you can keep that trait going long enough, you know what? It becomes part of your character, of who you are. Imagine that being part of your character, or my character. I can't imagine. But I look forward to it. You know, as I've shared Rick's story, now this is a man that is on a quest to go back to where his mother was buried. He's never been to her grave, and to kind of find himself. He's been through some tough times. He's trying to find himself. What is God's purpose for him? You know, and I shared with Rick, I said, Rick, when I woke up this morning, I asked God, can I be the answer to somebody's prayer today? And then you showed up. I don't know if I would have stopped if I hadn't asked that question. I truly don't. How many times have we passed people on the road and said, oh, we should stop? No, this time we did. It was there, and it was embedded in me. And so we stopped and chatted with him. And I said, I don't know if I'm the answer to your prayer, but I can tell you this, by being open, you are the answer to my prayer. Now let me tell you something. I'm going to suggest something, because what you've been saying is, I have got to find out what God's purpose is for me. And when you say I need or I've got to, your mind will continue to support you with that. And what you'll see is all the reasons why you need to find God's purpose for you, but you will not get it. You will not find it. Change that statement that I need to, I got to, change it to an empowering question. Your subconscious mind cannot ignore it. And if you change it to a question, you'll see things that you hadn't seen before. You'll hear things that you hadn't heard before. And I said, I can tell you this, Rick. And before he left, I looked him in the eyes and I said, you need to understand something. You have already moved closer to God's purpose for you today. You don't know where your story is going to go. It's on its way. By sharing it with us, you will never see you drop that pebble into the pond of life when we met together, where the ripples go. You will probably never see. Now, guess what? We've heard from Rick. Rick sent us a text that we got this weekend. He carries a cell phone with him. He's got a charger, so when he hits McDonald's, he charges it up, answers some things. And so we got a text from him saying he's about 20 miles east of Shoshone Falls, which is in Idaho. And so we're delighted to hear from him. I told him to keep in touch as he went on the way. When he gets to Portland, he's interested in starting a business. We'll see what happens. But you know, as I've shared this story, I've got mixed reactions. Most people have been inspired. But I've also got reactions about, like, why are you paying attention to that kook? The guy, anybody that gets on a bike and starts riding going across the country is just a kook. But I had to pay attention to him because he's given more thought to what's going on in this world than I have. He has had his thoughts totally focused in on that every hour of every day now. And he's written over 1,000 pages, like I said. Now, I had to pay attention to him. George Bernard Shaw says something once. He said, "The reasonable man adapts himself to the world. The unreasonable one persists in trying to adapt the world to himself. Therefore, all progress depends on the unreasonable man." Now, maybe I'm giving Rick more credit than he deserves, but it's what we learn from these experiences. And you know, things happen through people. And never, I'm reminded, or I'll paraphrase a quote from Buckminster Fuller, who was the inventor of the geodesic dome. And he said, "Never forget that you are one of a kind. And never forget, if there weren't any need for you in all your uniqueness to be on this earth, you wouldn't be here in the first place. And never forget, no matter how overwhelming life's challenges and problems seem to be, that one person can make a difference in the world. In fact, it always has. It's always been because of one person that all the changes that matter in the world come about. So be that one person. Let's be that one person." And that's the inspiration I got from Rick. Now we're going to go another week. I challenge you, keep it going. And share with me. I love to get your emails. I love to see your responses on your commitment to be able to say, yes, I am asking myself, I'm asking God, can I be the answer to somebody's prayer today? Make life meaningful. Make this week meaningful. I'll talk to you next week. Thank you for being with me. Bye-bye.